Okay, so here we go, guys. Part one, or episode one of a 4-part video series of the pool deck table build. So before we begin, don't forget to hit the notification bell to subscribe for all my future carpentry updates. So here we go, just cutting out the corner joins for the table. 3-way joint, it's called a castle joint. I'm just cutting the castle section here, which is suitably named when you think about an old style castle or castle, depending on where you are in the world. There's 3 of them cut, there's 1 more to cut, and I've cut the middle 2 legs, the tenons, for those as well. So here's an example, the castle joint, and then we've got the cross lap joint for the horizontal pieces which interlock and fit in between the castle section. And now we've got an example of the mortise and tenon for the centre of the table along the long edge, just for some support. So I thought I'd cut a nice little tenon, a mortise and tenon for that, and then fix it in with some dowels. Here in the foreground you can see the cross lap joints, which are on the corners of the horizontal frame part of the table, and they will just interlock and fit together over the castle joint, which has been cut into the legs. Then it was just a case of adding some rails to the inside face of the table frame. That was just glued and screwed down, undercoated, and then just cork some polyurethane on there on the top side just to protect it from any water getting in there in the future. The purpose of installing the rails was to allow the tabletop slats to span across from one side to the other and thus finish flat with the actual table frame on the top surface. However, that would come with challenges because, as you'll see later, I had to make some adjustments as the spruce from the timber mill wasn't cut accurately, and there was thicker and thinner sections, which meant I had to make some modifications along the way to make sure that everything did finish flat with the tabletop once it was complete. It will make more sense later on. So as this table was being built around 3 trees, or incorporated around 3 trees, I needed to devise a system that would allow that to happen. So my system was to laminate on edge 4 lengths of the spruce together to make essentially one big board. So here I'm just gluing those all up and glue on every face, spreading it all out to make sure I get maximum contact. And then later on, it'll be just a matter of clamping it and giving it a day to dry before I marked and cut the sections I needed to fit around the tree trunks when the table all went together. So just a little backstory in the lumber selection for this job. I initially wanted to use oak, but that was before I found out that the table was going to be painted. And with oak, it's not always ideal to paint it due to the fact that it can have wide gaps that open up in the grain, which means that you can't really achieve a nice finish with oak. Oak is a hardwood, but it does crack still. Doesn't mean to say it's not structurally good. It's just might not look as good when it's painted, and oak always tends to look better when it's left in its raw state and can silver off over time. So as an alternative, I ended up using this timber, which is a Douglas fir spruce, which is a conifer, an evergreen conifer species belonging to the pine family. It's a softwood, and yeah, it was a good alternative as it's really good when used for making furniture, and also it's much better when applying paint to it as well. So it didn't make a difference to the strength of the table or for what I needed it for. It was just finding a suitable alternative more than anything else. So after all that, you can see I've glued and placed all these 4 boards in position now, ready for clamping. And once those 4 boards are clamped, like I said earlier, it was just a matter of leaving them in place for a day to let it dry, and it would be super strong in order for me to mark out and cut the sections that needed to be placed around the trees. Don't forget also there was 3 trees in this table, so I needed to make 3 sections exactly the same as the one you're looking at now. And thus, that would save you from having to sit through me making 3 sections of this. and you only get to watch one, so lucky you. So when gluing and clamping all these together, things still do move around while the glue is dry. So it's always good to go back and check to make sure that the position of the pieces that you're working on that are being glued together haven't moved. So you see me here just making sure everything's perfectly flush with one another, just to cut down the amount of work and flattening out that needs to happen once everything's dry, and to prepare for me to mark and cut out the sections that will fit around the trees. So that's it for now, guys. Be sure to check out phase 2 of this table build in the second episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next one.